There's a rumor out there, a conspiracy theory or something, that Rippaverse LLC is not owned solely by Eric July. And I want to immediately say I have no reason to find any basis to this rumor. And I know I have, this is in regards to the trademark lawsuit is where this comes from. And so with all of the drama and stuff going on, I wanted to kind of give a positive sort of update on the Rippaverse stuff, because people have made up their opinion on what I think and feel about things based on what they believe it is. And that's not true. I'm just following what I see as far as law and facts and all that shit. But that being said, this rumor originates from how the trademark lawsuit is filed. And so I want to explain that real quick and explain why that is and why it means literally nothing. When the ISOM ministry filed the trademark lawsuit against Rippaverse LLC and Eric July, they name, I believe, 4 or 5 John Does as potential alternate owners or partners in Rippaverse LLC. Now, some people have suggested that that means that they may have some idea that there are alternate sort of silent partners in the LLC, silent owners. This is not why that is done. Regardless of whether there are, and I don't believe there are, I don't have any reason to believe that rumor. Regardless of whether or not there are, this is not why that is done. This is done really as just sort of following the rules or customs typically of a jurisdiction that you're in. We've seen this in other jurisdictions. We don't really do it in Minnesota, but some jurisdictions or even specific courts will have either a custom or a rule requiring you to name additional parties that possibly could be discovered later on, so that when those parties are brought to light, typically through discovery, they are added into the lawsuit immediately. Again, not all jurisdictions have this custom or requirement, and I would assume that this one does, that just this court, that is how it is filed. But it does not mean that the ministry has any indication that they're silent partners. I just want people to know that's a facet of how some courts have complaints filed in them, is that there's this idea that you should name a potential John Doe, even if you have no information that that they may exist. You name them so that if someone is discovered. But that doesn't mean anything at all. And because there's a bunch of speculation, since Eric works for the Blaze, that the Blaze has involvement or ownership or is footing the bill. And look, there's all kinds of ways that that could be completely legally done and still have nothing to do with the ownership of Rippaverse, and also be completely normal and above board, and we still wouldn't know, and it would make no difference at all as far as anything we've seen so far. So I want to get that out there. When the full disclosure, when the rumor first popped up and I had no idea what the origin was, my initial thought was just kind of running through things. Wow, if there's an indication that there are other owners, including a very moneyed party like the Blaze or Glenn Beck, there could be a real different issue going on. Like, the Blaze and Glenn Beck would obviously be very sophisticated trademark parties. They have tons of trademark brands. They deal in this business more than a new small business owner. And so that could really change some of the calculus. That was just initial thought without any knowledge of what was going on or where this came from. Once I found out where it came from, I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that that's a thing. Here's a very plausible legal explanation for why you would have these John Does named, and it has nothing to do with anybody else being involved. So I want to get that out there. I want to try to do my part, like in Starship Troopers, right? I'm doing my part to clear that up, because I don't want anybody taking anything I initially thought about the possibility, where I'm just like, stream of consciousness going through it, and thinking, oh man, that means this is happening now, this is bad, and then I've accidentally contributed to something that I had no intention of contributing to. And I think I can kind of tip the needle back the other way from my end and just say, yeah, I don't see this. I posted that on Twitter earlier, that's a perfectly normal part of certain court procedures. It has no indication of whether there might be some other partner. So if you guys have seen that rumor, have heard about that thing, have seen people delving into it, I would humbly say I think it's misinformed, unless there's a whole slew of other information. And I know there is some Twitter account saying like that they have proof of something, but there's NDAs in place. Look, man, until something gets put down, I don't buy into that shit. Like you cannot. Well, everybody would talk about it if there wasn't NDAs. Well, okay. Well, no one's talking about it then. If there's NDAs and that stuff is still discoverable, like NDAs are not going to protect you through discovery on something like that. But that's not an issue here. In my opinion, I have no reason to believe that that's true. So just wanted to say that. Want to get that out of the way. Look at that. 6 minutes. That's not so bad, especially for me. 6 minutes is not so bad on one of these topics. So again, I don't want to beat this topic any more than well, that's a joke that's inappropriate. When a man hits a woman. No,